Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've been waiting for. The first round of the Kenko Formula 1 Championship. Max Chapman in that pole position, getting ready to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. There'll be 5 lights. And it is lights out and away we go. Ferrari gone, the Ferrari's gone. The Ferrari have taken another massive crash. Massive crash at the third one. Absolutely huge crash. The aero setup is just so much better on that racing point. And Joel, the Gasmanov has spun it. Gasmanov has spun it into the final sector. Oh no, that's absolutely heartbreaking.
Lead of the race is that for the win for Torben Schott. I'm not sure coming to the bus stop. He's still ahead of Max Chapman. The final lap. The final corner of the race. Has he done it? I think Torben Schott on the final lap has won the race, and he does. He wins.
Incredible stuff there for the Ferrari driver to make it the trifecta. It's lights out and away we go for the start of the Zandvoort Grand Prix here. And already one of the Ferraris at the back spinning out. We've got massive debris going back into turn 1. Really bad start there for one of the Ferrari drivers. We see Knox go down the inside, and he's spun as well into the pit lane, and one of the McLaren as well. And that's a safety car into turn 1 once again. every week, safety car.
I think we knew from the outset that we had quite a driver with a Max.
Max Chapman, what a race he's had. He's 8 seconds in front of his teammate, and it's just looked so easy for him as he comes and he crosses the line to be first time second race champion. Max Chapman, winner of the Zandvoort Dutch Grand Prix. It's not the gap between those two drivers, and he's gone deep. He's gone deep. And Titan, and he's won the driver. He's spun. Max Chapman has spun. Titan is in for the lead. He's reset to track. Torben Schott and Titan are now in the P1 and 2 positions. I can't believe ourselves. If they fight, they may go wide. They talk about it. With a huge snap of oversteer, and Torben Schott is into the lead. But stay on your seats, folks, because this could end any which way through the final couple corners. He comes into turn 10. Chapman is spun once again. Vauxhall is now into the podium positions, and Torben Schott through turn 10. He looks decidedly in front of the huge skid there from his teammate. Torben Schott for the first time ever. A Ferrari 1-2 looks like it's on the cards. Torben Schott, a Grand Prix winner. Max Chapman has driven absolutely incredibly, not just today, but the entirety of the league. From day 1 he's won the race, from day 2 he won the race, today across the line he's won the race and won the championship. It is Max Chapman who is the champion of the world. Du bist Weltmeister.
Steering it is broken down.
Welcome to Abu Dhabi, and we're just about to start the final race of the inaugural Kenko F1 season here at the Yas Marina circuit. This is a track known for its long back straight, which serves up great opportunities for overtaking into the slow corners that follow it. There are 3.5 miles of this long circuit, 21 corners, and 2 very long back straights. There are 2 DRS zones going into the heavy braking zones of turn 8 and turn 11, which also offer plenty of overtaking potential. This track comes with its fair share of tricky corners as well, with 15, 16 and 17 testing the driver's braking management. The final time in the Kenko F1 League, it is the grid rundown with Max Chapman serving his final pole of the season, a 133 flat for him, The man in second is Joel Vauxhall, putting it on the front row of the grid for the first time in the season. Dylan Hartley and Archie Mittelfeld follow in P3 and P4 for the second row of the grid. The third row is Alex Rinser and Jay Robinson. Jay Robinson with a pretty stellar qualifying performance here at the Yas Marina. Andre Abreu and Ian Hanmore there on the fourth row of the grid. And it's both the O'Maras locking out the fifth row of the grid. P9 for Josh and P10 for Kevin. P11 and P12 go to Rafael and Rio, both of them new joiners to the Kenko F1 League. Andre Muster and Adam Forbes. Adam Forbes had a pretty decent qualifying there, 135.6. The rest of these did not start or did not finish. Torben Schutt racing on his keyboard this weekend. He's in P15. P16 is Ben Mitchell, who spun out in Q1. Roskell and Wilson are behind, with Karlstad and Widdowson bringing up the rear of the grid. It is the final time that Kenko F1 will race, and the final time, emotional, this final time we'll see all 20 of the drivers on this grid today. Once again, like always, joined by Sam in the commentary box. Hello, Sam.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. The final time we are racing in the 2021/2020, whichever you want to call it, season. It's been a great one. It was a great qualifying. Max Chapman once again on pole. Joel in second, just not too far behind him at all. And yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Well, I tell you what, we've got a special lineup today. Tom Roskell in P17 has been replaced. He's fell down with a bit of an illness, reminding me of back here at the end of last year, an illness, bringing along a special driver. Today in P17 it is Dirk Chocolate racing for the Kenko F1 League. It's sort of one and done for this driver. Let's see what he can prove in the first race, and well, maybe to go on to next season.
Yeah, certainly. It's obviously an absolute pleasure to have Dirk Chocolate in the Abu Dhabi race, starting down in P17. We'll have to see what he can do. We know, obviously, he's a great driver, a great quality driver, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he can do down in P17.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some drivers. All of the drivers in the top 10 should be on the soft tyre. I think Kevin actually has put on the wrong tyre. So, yeah, that's a shame there for the Ferrari driver. Sorry, for the Alfa Romeo driver. He will have to go and change this in the pits on the first lap.
Yeah, that's not cool. Obviously, you need to start the race on which tyre you qualified on in Q2, and confirmation that in fact, Kevin O'Mara is on the wrong tyre compound, so he will have to change that very, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate for Kevin. What sort of strategies can we expect? What can we expect from this driver?
Well, obviously, Kevin going to have to come in almost immediately to get that new tyre compound on, but other drivers, a lot of them in the top 10 starting, or in fact all of them top 10 starting on the soft tyres. We expect them to go onto the mediums, maybe onto the hards. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, everybody else, a few guys on the medium tyres, which is very, very interesting. They can go much further into the race before having to come into the pits and replace those tyres.
Yeah, well, the drivers are lining up onto the grid and seeing all of these lines onto the final grid. Oh, it makes my heart jump, and the drivers, they're ready, and I don't know if I'm ready for this final race of the season. There's 5 lights. The drivers will rev their cars up to 13,000 RPMs, and we get going for the final race of the season. It looks like Kevin O'Mara and Josh both getting decent start, but it doesn't matter since it is the final race of the season. There's a bit of contact there between the Renault of Archie Mittelfeld and Dylan Hartley towards the back. There is a bit of a clean entry into turn 1, if you don't mind me saying. One of the Alfa Romeos going incredibly wide. I think that might be, one of the Ferraris has spun. That might be, I think that might be Torben Schutt. He's on his keyboard this weekend, and there's a little bit of a kerfuffle there towards the rear as all of these drivers are now having to get past each other into turn 7 and turn 8.
Yeah, certainly. Joel Vauxhall into turn 1, got ahead of Max Chapman. That is incredible stuff. An amazing start for Joel Vauxhall in Abu Dhabi. Max Chapman down in P2, not getting the edge on Joe on the start, but down the back straight. They've got the slipstream. I don't think it's going to be enough this time.
There's so much commotion going on in this midfield. There's Andre Abreu trying to make a move on Archie Mittelfeld. Ian Hamill makes a move beautifully around the outside of Jay Robinson. And down the inside, Josh O'Mara making a move on Andre Muster. There's a little bit of contact through the corner there, but through turn 8 and through turn 9, they are through. And on to the second of the 2 straights we mentioned. Josh O'Mara has now been overtaken back by Andre Muster, but up at the front it is Joel Vauxhall and Max Chapman fighting, but Dylan Hartley wants a piece of it as well.
Yeah, Max, Joel, and Dylan all very, very close at the moment, all within about 0.3 of a second. So this is a very tight battle going through turn 17. No overtakes here. A lock up there for Joel Fox, although not good news for him. He needs to sustain this lead. Max Chapman is hot on his heels, though. He is incredibly quick.
Max Chapman wants to win this final race. It's been, well, 10 wins or 11 so far for him in his Kenko F1 League. Can he convert it to 12? The huge spot from Archie Middlefeld, who is spun. Massive impact, and all of the drivers in that final sector will have to go so much slower as they wait for Archie Middlefeld to get out of the way. Some drivers there, like Jay Robinson and Ian Hammore, could have some wing damage, but here is Ian Hammore. Oh, sorry, here is Ben Mitchell going for a move on James Wilson into turn 1. There's so much action here at the Abu Dhabi circuit.
Yeah, it's great. The first few lap has been absolutely amazing. Ben Mitchell looks like he might have some wing damage, though. He's gone incredibly wide coming out of turn 3. That's not good news for the Mercedes driver.
Could he have picked that up due to Archie Middlefeld, who did spin? We'll have a look at Archie, see if he's got any front wing damage that is noticeable. Josh and Ian having a little bit of a battle there down the back straight. It's all about the toe now, isn't it, for these two drivers?
Yeah, certainly. I think it might have been Archie's teammate, Rio, that spun. I'm not too sure. Archie has got no wing damage whatsoever. He's still up in P8. Josh up in P7, fighting very, very close to the back of Ian Hanmore.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I saw one of the Renaults going, but it was one of the Renaults up at the top, so I assumed it was Archie Middlefeld, as Rio was pretty much halfway down the field. But and then also Middlefeld dropped back down to P8, so I'm not too sure there. But Widdowson and Rio both having to go into the pits, and Dirt Chocolate making it all the way up into the points on the first lap.
Yeah, great start there for Max Chapman. Great news for him, is back up into the lead, beating Joel Fox, who's already half a second ahead. Dylan Hartley, though, is about 1.2 seconds off the lead still, so he's still possibility for the Alpha Tauri driver, but we'll have to see. This is good news for Max after that poor start.
Tell you what, if Max had something to prove tonight, it was that. He lost the position into turn 1 and then immediately got it back on the second lap of this race. Don't go anywhere, folks, because it's 2 laps in, and already there has been so much action. Max Chapman sets the fastest lap and a fastest sector 3, a 1:37 and a 38-second lap there. It is Chapman from Vauxhall in P3 maintaining his quality position is Dylan Hartley. P4 is Andre Abreu, Jay Robinson in P5, Ian Hanmore, Josh O'Mara, Archie Middlefeld, and then it is Muster and Dirt Chocolate. For Kevin O'Mara, though, it was not a great start. He's all the way down in P16 because of that incorrect tyre compound.
Yeah, certainly down in P16, already going onto the soft tyre, which is the absolute right call to make. He had to do that, obviously starting on the wrong tyre compound, not what you want for the final race of the season. But we know from real life experience that even if you have to pit early on in the race, there's still a possibility to make these overtakes.
Andre Abreu's made a move round the outside. Oh, Dylan Hartley, there may have been a little bit of contact there as they go through. We'll go on board with Dylan Hartley, who races down the second straight. He's got the DRS, giving him 14 kilometers an hour extra down that second pit straight, and with ease goes round the outside. But Andre Abreu may look to make a move down here into turn 11 and turn 12.
Yeah, certainly, and Dylan Hartley's teammate as well getting involved. Jay Robinson now very, very close to back for Andre Abreu, and he even gets past Andre Abreu. A massive snap of oversteer coming off of the turn 14 chicane, and Jay Robinson and Dylan Hartley P3 and P4 respectively. That's great news for the Alpha Tauri team.
We see both of the Alpha Tauris here in the podium positions. If all it takes is for Max Chapman or Joel Vauxhall to get their strategy wrong or a little bit of damage in both of them. But it looks like for the first time this season, Jay Robinson is actually pushing Dylan all the way to the limit.
Yeah, certainly riding on board with Hartley. It looks like he's struggling in that car. Going into turn 1, he went incredibly deep, and he just seems to have no pace. He's lost about 1.5 seconds to Joel in the last lap or so. So I'm not sure what's going on with his car at the moment.
There's no damage for Dylan, so I'm not too sure what happened. A huge snap of oversteer there through turn 2. One of the polystyrene bollards on the inside of turn 3 has actually been destroyed. That's going to be horrible for the drivers who aren't running any sort of racing line or such. But there you see that straight line. That'll be the line for next year in next year's game. The updated track layout for 2021, as we did mention on Friday. But around the outside goes Andre Abreu. He can't make it stick, but once again on board, we'll see how lucrative this toe is. He's almost all the way out of his ERS, only on the 4th lap, but the DRS may help him, and the DRS may help his teammate here, Jay Robinson, who looks to go down the inside of Dylan Hartley and does do it into turn 4 and turn 5. Oh, sorry, turn 8 and turn 9. It is Jay Robinson in front of Dylan Hartley. What a start from the Newcastleman.
Yeah, certainly up into P3. 3 moves made for Jay Robinson so far. His teammates fighting back, though, coming into turn 12. They're getting very, very close, are the two Alpha Tauris, but Dylan Hartley just does not have the pace to keep up. I'm hearing some information that he wasn't able to put on his correct setup, which is probably why we see him going so wide through certain corners.
Well, I mean, there's a huge train beginning to form, and Dirk Chocolate looks to make a move right on the outside of turn 15, but just gets forced a little bit wide by Archie Middelfeld. Dirk Chocolate in P9, we can't quite see because of the camera angle, but around the outside of 17, he has been cut off there by Archie Middelfeld. Wow, well defended there from the Renault driver.
Yeah, that was great racing between the two there. Dirk Chocolate incredibly aggressive coming through 18 and 19. That was really, really good to see. But Archie, as you said, placing the car in the right positions and able to retain that P8 position at the moment.
Dirk Chocolate here is on the alternate strategy, starting on the mediums. Obviously, he started back in P17 for the Haas team. And that alternate strategy, even being able to keep it with the soft side. Through turn 3, that's massive there. I've just seen that on the edge of the corners. How is that not a safety car? There's a virtual safety car that's been deployed. That was absolutely massive there between Dylan Hartley and, well, the wall.
Yeah, that's absolute heartbreak for Dylan Hartley. It's been a great season for him. You know, some incredible highs. That is not the way he wanted to end his season with his team. And I think that's all because of that setup. I didn't quite see the incident, but he was struggling incredibly without that setup that he was expecting this weekend.
Yeah, completely agree with you there, mate. I mean, it has been an incredible season for Dylan, winning in Monaco and getting multiple of the podiums at the likes of Canada and Azerbaijan. We'll go ahead and have a look at what happened there to the Alpha Tauri driver. We were just coming through on board with Archie actually through here. We see Dylan leading that pack through sector 1. There is a green flag now on track, and a time penalty has been issued to Andre Abreu here, and it's through this turn 3. Oh yeah, his rear, he gets on the curb and his rear goes into the wall, and I see him just spin into the wall. That's huge, and that's going to be a huge amount of G's for that driver, and I tell you what, I'm very glad that he's okay.
Yeah, that's a horrible incident there. You could just see the back end not liking that at all, and that's on a corner that hasn't really got that much demand on the rear end. So I can imagine how much he was struggling. So it was incredible that he even made it to lap 6, to be honest. But once again, a real shame not to see him take the checker flag today.
We're on board here with Dirk Chocolate, who gets a little bit of a snap there through the final corner. Andre Abreu, the first of the regulation pit stops to come into the pit. Dirk Chocolate has been stuck behind Archie Middelfeld, whose tyres will no doubt be coming off very, very soon. And good. Well, I mean, obviously we saw with Dylan spinning off here in turn 3. That you said was possibly down towards like a setup problem, but once the tyres start to go on these soft runners, do you reckon we could start to see a little bit of lifting or oversteer there through those corners?
Yeah, certainly. Dirk Chocolate getting incredibly close once again to the back of Archie Middelfeld. I do think you're right in that these soft tyres may be starting to fall off slightly for the Renault driver. He's having to defend and push incredibly hard against a Haas driver. So yeah, he's taking a real run for his money is Dirk Chocolate, but he's on those medium tyres. He's the highest placed driver on those medium tyres on the track at the moment. So this strategy could really play dividends for him, even though he started all the way down in P17.
Rafael was actually incorrectly given a grid position there from the stewards, maybe a late penalty, I'm not too sure myself, but Rafael's done pretty well to make himself back up to P10. His original starting position should have been P11, a little bit more of a lockup there from Dirk Chocolate, who's made himself up to P7, and in front it is Josh O'Mara pushing Ian Hamill much to the limit.
Josh up to P5. I know he's going to be incredibly happy with that, as well as Ian Hanmore in P4. Just these two drivers being in these positions is great news. We've seen them battle before. In Bahrain, I remember it happening. These two getting incredibly close on the track, so I think we're going to see that once again in the Middle East. But yeah, Ian and Josh in P4 and P5 respectively. That's great news for the two drivers.
Well, I tell you what, it's great news for Adam Forbes and Josh O'Mara. Both of them DNF'd at the first race of the season. It's good to see the progression of that McLaren team as Middelfeld comes into the pits to fit the new set of tyres. That'll mean Dirk Chocolate is now up and chasing after the Irishman.
Yeah, certainly. Josh now only under a second ahead of Dirk Chocolate, so he's going to be fighting all the way through the lap, no doubt. But Josh and Ian getting ever closer as well through the chicane.
Tell you what, down in the field for P10, it is pretty lonely there with Adam Forbes, but Andre Abreu's dropped all the way back. I'm not too sure what happened with him.
Yeah, I really don't know. I know he came into the pits, but he's on those soft tyres, which is interesting. So he's obviously gone for an alternate strategy. We have seen this from the from the Williams driver before, so whether it'll play out in Abu Dhabi, I really don't know.
I'm interested to see this. We're just going to go on board with Torben Schutt. Not the greatest of races so far, but that's because he's racing on a keyboard. We've had some intel from Sky Race Control and obviously all of the members down at Ferrari that this Ferrari driver is obviously great enough, and whilst we're on board with him, Dirk Chocolate makes himself up into P5 and P4 as well, getting past both Josh and Ian. What an amazing start here from Dirk Chocolate, a Astro placement, but just look at how jittery that steering is. He's steering with his keyboard.
Yeah, that was a great move from Dirk Chocolate. He had a double overtake coming into turn 11, but yeah, Torben Schutt obviously going for a different strategy. We've got a yellow flag. Josh O'Mara spun. No, they were fighting. Ian and Josh was fighting and he spun.
No, Josh, he was on the edge of the podium. He was in P5, and then Dirk came past with Ian, and then I'm not too sure what happened because I went to go look at Torben Schutt and Charlie here, but Josh, just having spun, he's got spun again by Andre Abreu. There's a little bit of a touch. Andre Abreu decides to go down the inside, even though the move clearly isn't on. But Josh maintains the position. When his rears are going to be lit. If I was him, I'd come into the pit. It's a huge snap. Yeah, good idea there from Josh.
Yeah, no wing damage by the looks of it, but those rear tyres completely baked and he has to come into the pits. This is such a shame for Josh. He was up in P5 fighting Ian. I didn't quite see what happened, but I can only imagine it must have been those two battling.
Looks like it's the hard tyres going on for the McLaren driver, looking possibly to go to the end, and not an unsafe release there from him. So decent stuff from the McLaren team, not still in last position.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea, going onto those hard tyres. That longevity is what he needs now. He needs to get some consistent pace out there coming out the pits. He'll be in P16.
Speaking of consistent pace, 15 seconds behind the leader is Jay Robinson, the lone AlphaTauri in this race. What's happened with him? I mean, we haven't heard much about him since he had that little battle with his teammate and before the virtual safety car, Dirk Chocolate chasing him down in the back there. We can just see Josh O'Mara getting past Rio Evans there in P15. But Jay Robinson's had some pretty stellar pace today, more so than we've seen in any other track this season.
Yeah, certainly a bit of a lonely race at the moment. He's 7 seconds behind Joel. Dirk Chocolate very much chasing him though in P4, 2.3 seconds behind at the moment. I do believe that Dirk Chocolate may be carrying some form of time penalty. I'll get an update on that in a second, but Jay Robinson so far P3 holding on to that nicely. Yeah,
well done there to Jay Robinson. Max Chapman is the first man in the top 3 to come into the pits. I'm not too sure what strategy the Alfa Romeo driver is going on to. It looks like it's going to be back onto the soft tyres, so it is going to be a 2-stop at least for Max Chapman. Wow, this could pay its dividends if it is Foxhall who goes with a 1-stop. I mean, we really need to see whether it's the 1-stop or the 2-stop, which is quicker here, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah, that's interesting. He's tried to a blinder, really. He's pulled a blinder there. He's obviously wasn't expecting to go back onto those soft tyres. He's trying that 2-stop strategy, I would imagine. Joel now, he needs to think about how to react to that. I mean, he's obviously in first position, but you know that's going to be on his mind now. What is Max? How is he going to be able to respond to Max?
Yeah, I mean, it's either the hard tyres or the medium tyres on, unless he's going for the 2-stop, in which case he could go onto the softs as well. But he has to change his tyre compound at least once in this race, as per the Formula 1 sporting regulations.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we saw, obviously, Max lose the lead at the start, Joel get in front, but he got back around in just under a lap, so we know he's got some good pace. He's obviously had a good lead ahead of Joel before his pit stop, so it's obviously in him today, and he wants to have an incredible victory to end off the season.
Here is Torben Schutt on the keyboard, getting chased down by Archie Middelfeld. To be in the points on the keyboard is a pretty stellar stuff here from him. Archie Middelfeld will look to use his toe and the DRS all the way down towards turn 11 and turn 12 and down the inside. Quite easily breezes past us, so does Adam Forbes breezing past Andre Abreu.
Yeah, obviously quite easy for Archie Middelfeld there going, he's on those medium tyres after that pit stop. As Torben Schutt a massive snap of oversteer, unsurprisingly on that keyboard at the moment.
I think Adam Forbes has spun into the wall. Yes, it is Adam in the wall. Ian Hanmore now up into P11 and a yellow flag in that final sector. No wing damage there for the McLaren driver, but just as I was praising them both, the kiss of death once again. Max Chapman on the socks, already up into the podium positions. We saw that in that pre-race interlude that was so kindly made by Sam, and so absolutely well put. The 6 months of racing we've had so far has been stellar. The amount of class from these drivers has been incredible, and the amount of class from yourself, Sam, to make something like that to steal the deal, absolutely amazing. But we saw stuff like back in Austria when it started to rain, and whatever we said came true. I cursed the McLaren drivers saying they were both having a pretty decent race.
Yeah, let's hope we don't have another pattern of that, to be honest. But yeah, the two McLarens spinning in very, very similar positions. I'm not sure if they're running similar setups and they're both getting affected by that, but absolute heartbreak for them, to be honest. They've had a pretty consistent season. Josh has really found himself towards the end of the season. I believe he had a good qualifying in Brazil and here, of course. But yeah, down in P14 and P16, the two McLarens, not good news at the moment.
Just as you were talking about that, what a move from Archie Middlefeld to go down the inside of the turn 7 chicane, or the turn 7 hairpin, should I say, rather, on Andre Abreu. We know Andre Abreu is carrying some sort of time penalty there with his 3 seconds or so, but what a move that was, and it is Ian Hamwell going down the inside, or sorry, round the outside of Torben Schutt to pick up the last points position.
Yeah, that's good news for Ian. He's on for a point scoring position at the moment, which is good. He's obviously got his fresh set of medium tyres on as well, so he's done that mandatory pit stop. He's in P10, 1 point at the moment, but Andre Abreu not too far ahead, only 3.2 seconds.
Yeah, we're just gonna go and have another look at that overtake down into the turn 7 hairpin, and we just quickly switched on to the drivers, and it looked like such a good move there from Archie Middlefeld to go down the inside of I think it may have been Andre Abreu there, as Jay Robinson also went past him into there. So yeah, Jay Robinson, and then down the inside, a huge lunging brake there with the medium tyres for Archie Middlefeld to put him all the way in front down that straight. Well done there to Archie and the Renault team for such a great setup and such a great move.
Yeah, that was a really, really solid move there from Archie. You know, very, very bold, going around the outside of the Williams. You don't really see many overtakes through turn 7, so that was really, really good job by Archie. Some good racing from the Renault boys.
Dirk Chocolate has just been overtaken by the constructor champion and the drivers champion Max Chapman. Dirk Chocolate, even with his such a great amount of skill, is learning the wrath of Max Chapman.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, Matt, we've seen it. You know, he's just an incredible driver. Dirk Chocolate, he's obviously on those medium tyres. He's not on the same strategy as Max, so it sort of makes sense for him to not be racing. But yeah, I still think in P3 starting P17, what a drive it's been so far.
Sam, do you want to introduce yourself? I know you've 6 months and I've said that you're Sam Wolfie, but do you want to introduce yourself? Who you are? Where do you come from? How do people know you, and how should they get into Formula One?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm Sam. I'm from London in the UK. I've been commentating almost all the races the last 6 months. It's been an absolute privilege commentating alongside Callum. F1 is a great sport. It's a real community. It's obviously a very, very much a teamwork sport as well. And being inside a league like this, even though I'm not driving, commentating has been great. Met some great people. Joel Fox will into the pits now, and yeah, it's been a great time. And I hope from the intro as well, you saw how exciting this season has been.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great to have you along. I mean, I don't think I would have stayed as long as I was if it wasn't for how exciting and interesting and how down to the wire this season and this league has been. I mean, it's been absolutely amazing. We saw the likes of Max Chapman and Torben Schutt battling out to the very last, well, not the last, because obviously this is the last, but the last race that we've done up in Interlagos. What a battle that was for the championship. But you've been likened to Billy Monger. Maybe you race like him as well, Sam.
I don't know about that, but yeah, it's been great. Honestly, it's been really fun. It was a new experience, but I'm so glad we did it, and it's been so much fun. And honestly, long live the Kenko F1 League, and I look forward to the next one.
Beautiful move, another little dive bomb down the inside by Archie Middlefeld. He's great at that move. There's a little bit of contact there between Wilson and Middlefeld, just a little bit of contact there. I think someone may have picked up a time penalty. It is Jay Robinson just in front of Archie Middlefeld and Wilson for pushing the track limits just a little bit, but a little bit of contact there between the Racing Point and the Renault. But what a move if you saw that.
Yeah, it's been great. Archie has been very, very quick today. You know, he's got that mandatory pit stop done now, up into P6. So this is just, you know, fighting for absolute position now, and he's doing incredibly. He's performing so well around Abu Dhabi. He's got some great pace. He's only now he's 1 second behind Jay Robinson, so this is great news for him.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. We're just going through the field now, looking at who's sort of in battles here. Joshua Mora back up into P12 despite the spin and the little incident he had in the final sector. Andre Muster's now into the pits, and Joel Foxall passed his pit stop. He went onto the hard tyres, I do believe. He went onto the medium tyres, so he will just go to the end on those. He is in P3. Dirk Chocolate, who has yet to pit, is in P2, and Max Chapman, who needs to pit still because of the compound change, is in P1. Andre Abreu really wants to get past Ben Mitchell here in P11, but Ben with some absolutely superb defending through the final sector.
This is crucial now for Max. He's obviously going to want to build that pit stop safety net to Joel Foxall. Joel is about 16 seconds behind Max at the moment. That is not safe. He's got to build quite a margin on those soft tyres, but I think this is going to work out for him as Andre Abreu going to make a lunge down the inside. He does, very nicely done from the Williams driver, ahead of Ben Mitchell, now up into P10.
That's a great move, but I don't know, what about this straight? Do you want to be behind? Oh, sorry, do you want to be in front for this straight just because of how big that toe is down towards turn 8?
Yeah, you're right. Ben Mitchell has got that DRS, but Andre in that Williams got some great traction off of the turn 7 hairpin, and he's miles ahead.
Yeah,
coming into turn 8.
Huge lockup, double wheel lockup there into turn 8, and now through 9. There's a huge, I don't know what to describe it as. A slider. I can't really describe it as anything else, but whatever it was, it will damage his tyres, and he will be chattering his teeth like he's at the dentist in there.
Yeah, certainly. You don't want to be sliding on these Pirelli tyres. They will really punish you. It's all about longevity now. Some drivers, or most drivers, have come into the pits to replace the tyres they started on, so they've got to make it to the end now.
Yeah, I mean, 15 places gained by Dirk Chocolate, who is still well within this race. I mean, if he goes onto the soft tyres and can go to the end, he's got his teammate just behind him there. Perhaps a strategy to let him go in front or whatever there. But yeah, it's absolutely amazing there from Dirk Chocolate to gain 15 positions in his first ever race for Kenko F1, showing the calibre. But Max Chapman still seems to be a bit of a handful for him.
Yeah, certainly. And Joel has actually not gained any time so far on Max. So Max is pulling on those soft tyres. If he doesn't get that safety net for the pit stop, then Max is going to have to re-overtake Joel. So what a battle that will be.
And he's tried to unlap himself, I think, here, Matthew Widdowson, who is in, and he has unlapped himself. I'm not too sure what's going on here with the Haas drivers. Maybe not enough communication, or maybe he's giving his teammate a toe down towards turn 7, but those blue flags will be well and truly waving.
Yeah, certainly we've got yellow flag. Kevin O'Mara spun coming out of turn 4, so not good news for Max Chapman's teammate. He's down in P14, and yeah, he's on those hard tyres as well, so these are the tyres he expected to go towards the end of the race on.
Apologies for the audio quality here. We're having some technical issues here in the skybox as Rafael Pio tries to get past Andre Muster. Andre Muster on the hard tyres, new one. He goes down the inside. Rafael pushes him a little bit off track, but very fair between those two. Very fair racing. Andre keeps his position round the inside, but Rafael with the pace. So much pace around that outside, and a little bit of a lock up there into 16, but pretty decent there from that driver.
Yeah, pretty good. Massive snap of oversteer though for Rafael coming out of turn 19, so that wouldn't be good. That would not have been good for his rear tyres. Nados has to get past the Ferrari. He's gone onto those hard tyres. He was up in about P3, I think it was, before he came into the pits. So yeah, he has to get through this Ferrari for his strategy to work.
The closest men on track is Rafael and Andre. Both of these drivers will be challenging each other as a time penalty for Jay Robinson, another 3-second time penalty. He's picked up 6 seconds this race for him to serve after the race, or very well in his pit stop.
Yeah, certainly. An update on that Dirk Chocolate time penalty as well. It's a bit late, but he has got a 5-second penalty, so he will be able to take that under the pits, no doubt, as he lets his teammate Matthew Widdowson pass once again. He's obviously very, very close out on track, but only one is really fighting. Neither are fighting for position. Matthew Widdowson is just unlapping himself.
You've any idea as to what that penalty was caused by?
It's coming up as a severe collision with Archie Middelfeld, so I'm not sure. We obviously saw the battle between those two, and it was a very aggressive battle, but I didn't see that severe contact.
It very well could have been in that final sector on the second lap. Remember when we saw one of the Renaults sliding back and I said it was Archie and you said, no, maybe it's Rio. I think that may be when.
You might be right. You might be absolutely correct. I mean, Archie wasn't affected that badly. He was down in P8 after that incident by the looks of it, so I'm not sure. But yeah, the game has awarded Dirk Chocolate a 5-second penalty. So this is advantage Joe at the moment.
Well, I tell you what, it will be checked by the stewards after the race, no doubt. Has have that right to appeal due to Article 16 in those sporting regulations. So Dirk Chocolate and Haas will surely bring that to Michael Massey and the stewards. Yeah,
certainly. He'll have to make sure he can prove himself, though, because if it was a significant collision, then that penalty will no doubt be justified. But Archie Minipo is not going too badly at all. He's down in P5, only now 1 second behind Jay Robertson. He may even get him down. He may even get Jay Robertson down into turn 8.
I'm not too sure, though. The longevity of Archie Middlepill's tyres will be significantly less than Jay Robinson, who is on much fresher medium tyres than him. But the DRS, the age of 15 kilometres, or just near enough 15, 14.8, down that back straight will not give him the aid that he needs down into turn 7. Oh, sorry, down into turn 8.
No.
However, but down towards turn 11, could he have him, Sam?
He could do. They're going very, very wide coming out of turn 9. They're using all of the track available. He's got the slipstream now. Jay Robertson cuts to the inside, but it's not enough. Archie Minipo with the DRS into turn 12, into turn 11. Sorry, nicely done.
DRS, drag reduction system. Wow. Some people say it's necessary. Some people argue that it is not, but clearly they're giving Archie Middlepell such a big boost there through in towards turn 11 and 12, and it is the leader coming into the pits for the second time. Now, this is where we see whether Dirt Chocolate and Joel Foxhall get past by enough of a margin. It is 5 seconds. Dirt Chocolate also comes into the pits, so so Joel Foxhall needs to pull roughly about 10 seconds to be safe just in this next couple laps.
Yeah, certainly. It's going to be close on pit exit, but I think Joel will come out ahead, and he does. Max Chapman is in P2 by about 1 second I'm seeing, so that's not huge. That is. I mean, that's been a great strategy for Max. He's managed to come onto the soft tyres, get some good pace on those. He's back out on those mediums now, and only a second behind Joel.
The real question is Max at risk of Joel pitting for the soft and having much more pace towards the end of the race, with only 11 laps from the end now. So what sort of things could we see from Foxhall as it could be made for the lead? The move round the outside, it is Max Chapman into the lead, but down the inside Joel Foxhall tries to defend his position through turn 9. It is Max Chapman in front of Joel Foxhall, but the two will be there for the Racing Point drive. We go on board with him, Sam.
Yeah, certainly. He's got the DRS now onto Max. Is he going to be able to do it into turn 11? He's losing so much speed. That Alfa Romeo in the straight looks like he's got some very, very, very good top line speed. He wasn't able to get the move back on. Jay Robinson up into P3 once again after Dirt Chocolate into the pits. But Max Chapman, even after doing an extra pit stop, back into first place. Great news for him.
Max needs to get that safety stop of about 10 to 11 seconds, just as I said, to be safe of Joel Foxhall, and that alternate soft strategy towards the end. Will he do it? We will have to see. Don't get out your seats, folks. And remember to vote for your driver of the day, kenkotv.uk/vote. I don't know who it is for me yet. There's so many possibilities. And remember, this will be the last one of the season, so make it count. Make your vote count here in Kenko F1.
Certainly, it's been a great race to end the season so far. Max, obviously, once again up in first place, but he hasn't made it easy for himself. He decided to go for an extra set on those soft tyres. I mean, that was a great spectacle, and he's already back past the Racing Point of Joel Foxhall.
I think that says something about the belief in oneself. If you can pit another time extra to everybody else and still have the confidence that you could come out on top. Wow, that is incredible from Max Chapman.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, that confidence is absolutely crucial. Max Chapman clearly has it. It's the final race of the season. He's won the championship and also been one of 2 parts to win the Constructors Championship. So, you know, it's pretty easy at this stage for him. But nonetheless, he's still pushing himself and he's still fighting very hard for the win.
Rio Evans is out now, one of the Renault drivers we possibly saw spinning back there. Max Chapman has set a fastest sector 2 of 40.9. That's ridiculous. We normally see times of 40.9 through there in qualifying. Wow, what pace as the fuel burns off of that Alfa Romeo car. Dirt Chocolate on the soft tyres is now racing and racy down onto the rear end of the Mercedes. How easy is it going to be for him to pass on those soft tyres?
He's obviously been looking at the pace of Max Chapman, or his team has. He's obviously seen how much pace Max has on those soft tyres. We saw before as well the pace he held on those medium tyres that he started on. Only 10 laps left in the race. This could be absolutely huge for the Haas driver. 10
laps to go to get your vote in. And will it be Dirt Chocolate? He's not even on the list, so you can't even vote for him because of how special this is. It's absolutely amazing to have someone that prestiged in the F1 community here racing for Kenko F1.
Yeah, certainly, and he's very, very close to the behind of Ian Hanmore now coming in towards turn 1. Is he going to be able to do it round the outside? He does a massively late lunge for Dirk Chocolate. Incredible stuff.
Wow, late on the break. Might as well call him Daniel Ricciardo. Last of the late breakers there, Dirk Chocolate, and already pulling a second to Ian Hanmore. I don't know if that's the pace of the car, the pace of the tyres, or the pace of the driver.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. He's already, as you said, already outside of that DRS range for Ian, so there's absolutely no chance he can get the move back done. Incredible pace so far. He's now got Jay Robinson for that final podium position, only 6 seconds ahead.
It was a battle there for P7. Both of the Andre, a little bit of a kerfuffle there through turn 5. We saw Andre Mustard getting forced a little bit wide, the draining on the rear right. That Williams of Andre Abreu, we saw him pit roughly about 9 laps ago. And that draining on that rear right, the delamination of the tyres is just starting to open up a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. 2 different compounds here as well. Nados, the Red Bull driver, on the hard tyres. Andre Abreu, the Williams driver, on the medium. So potentially, there's argument there for a bit of a tyre deficit. But as you said, they pitted at completely different times. Nados pitting a lot later, so he will have that advantage in terms of degradation.
I don't want to have to say anything and jinx it, but I think the audio issues and technical difficulties may be fixed now. No cracking on the mic for you, Sam. Jay Robinson still in the podium positions after his pit stop, so well done to the AlphaTauri driver. But he's coming in again, just as I say that, to fit the soft tyres more than probably. But he's got 9 seconds of penalties I've seen on my radar.
I'm not sure. I don't see any penalties for him, but we're about to be told. I don't think he had any penalties. He's on
I know what it might be. Is it for Rio Evans and the number that he's picked?
Yes.
That might be why. Sorry, unfortunately, folks have been coming up at the top as Jay Robinson with that penalty. But that's a really great strategy for AlphaTauri and that driver coming onto the brand new soft tyres, not even used in qualifying.
Yeah, we've obviously seen the pace he's had, but I'm not sure. Maybe, I don't know. That's an interesting one there. He's obviously onto the soft tyres. He's going to have some good pace towards the end of the race. Dirk Chocolate inevitably would have probably overtaken him, so that podium position slightly out of question potentially. So maybe this is the correct call for the AlphaTauri driver. I think it probably will be.
I tell you what, Rafał and Ferrari were complaining to the FIA. If only we had that FIA Ferrari team radio graphic so we could let you hear what they were complaining about. But they were saying that it was unfair that they got that penalty so late to put them down onto the grid. But it doesn't really matter. He's already up into P4.
Yeah, completely proving the FIA wrong, which is exactly what the drivers are out there to do. He's up in P4. Great news. He's on the medium tyres. He's got his pit stop done. He's 12 positions up on what he started on, second only to Dirk Chocolate. So a great race so far. Joel
Foxhall's managed to maintain a 5-second gap since the new medium tyres has gone on for Max Chapman. So Joel really needs to either box now or just take P2 for granted.
Yeah, certainly. We've had another retiree as well, Kevin O'Mara. He's crashed out, I believe, through turn 21, the final corner on the lap. Not good news for Max Chapman's teammate today.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's interesting that the stewards haven't called any sort of safety cars, and if the soft tyres going on for Rafał, I'm not sure if that's a smart strategy there for him. Will he be able, like Jay Robinson, to push him back up, or is he trying to cover the fact that Jay Robinson's on those brand new soft tyres?
Potentially, there's obviously a lot of strategy going on there. He's onto those soft tyres, about 8 laps left in the race. Will he be able to do it? I'm not sure. He was up in P4, a very, very strong position.
Well, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, watch this space. The Ferrari team here in Abu Dhabi have looked very strong. I mean, except for Torben Schutt, who's on a keyboard, but we'll ignore that and say that his caliber of racing, I think having a little bit of fun now the championship has been decided. But Ian Hanmore with a pretty decent result so far. Archie Middlefeld gets past Andre Mustard down the straight down towards turn 8 and turn 9. Andre Mustard looks for a move around the outside and gets a little bit of lock up there, but it is Jay Robinson now on the brand new soft tyres. What a move there from Jay to go around the outside on the curb completely off the track, except for the 2 wheels on there to get around, and just shows you how, even without DRS, how lucrative that is. But he's being overtaken with the DRS and tries to go and move down the inside for Andre Mustard and Nados, but that's not worked for him.
Yeah, it was close though. Andre Muster fighting back with that DRS coming into turn 11. It was very, very close. He was going to make a lunge down on the inside, but that would have been incredibly hard to get two cars into one. But yeah, Jay Robinson on those soft tyres, he's not looking too shabby at all.
Having a message from some of the viewers that Torben Schutt looks like his name's Schumacher. Well, he certainly drove like it in those last few races we saw in that pre-race build-up video, so brilliantly made by Sam that he became the trifecta winner, the first two-time winner for Ferrari, and obviously what a driver, and taking it to Max Chapman just like Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, I think that has to be one of my favourite moments of the whole season, to be honest, in Belgium. Seeing that battle come to literally the last corner, it was great to see Torben Schutt obviously coming out on top in that instance. But overall, Max Chapman, we saw as well the domination of him, and yeah, it's been a great season. Max Chapman seeing how dominant he can be, as well as Torben Schutt being there and thereabouts quite often.
Archie Middlefeld has had a pretty decent race so far, and so has Andre Abreu, but Jay Robinson is coming up behind them. He's on the soft tyres, he's got so much surplus pace. 6 laps and a bit remain until Max Chapman crosses the line, or will it be Max Chapman? We don't know. Joe Vauxhall has managed to stay within 5 seconds, losing no time within the last couple laps. Wow, and well done to them. Dark Chocolate has not even been able to, Dark Chocolate's not been able to get past Joel Vauxhall either, so it looks like he may be taking the final podium position. It seems to be a little bit of a trend for Haas to, in their first race, Haas drivers to take a podium. We saw Alex Hughes in the first race of the season. Unfortunately, he departed us and not to retire from a session, and it's only a virtual safety car. No full safety car for him. I'm not too sure what's happened for the Racing Point driver, and possibly something the Joel Vauxhall may want to be worried about. 4 drivers out in this final race of the season, but as I was saying, a little bit of a tradition here for a tradition, as Valtteri Bottas would like to say, for Haas drivers to score a podium. It was in Spain, Matthew Widdowson scoring the only podium of the Kenko F1 League for him in his first race. Alex Hughes in his first race scored a podium, and actually a P2 in Australia, and Dirk Chocolate now looking to be set for the P3 position.
Yeah, that's a really interesting trend. Looks like Nuts has come out of the turn 7 hairpin, and he's gone into the wall. That is not good news for him. It was a pretty decent race, not in the points, but imagine if it had been a full course safety car. That would have been amazing to see the final few laps, but it is only a virtual safety car at the moment.
Yeah, it would have been really interesting, and it would have definitely tied up the field up there at the front, but it still looks like it's Max Chapman from Joel Vauxhall, and then Dirk Chocolate back in there, already just out of the safety car. Was not expecting any moves there, but Andre Muster has gone around the lapped car of Matthew Widdowson.
Yeah, obviously in P6, got that DRS off that lap car as well, so he has he's had some good pace. But Jay Robinson up in P5, about to make a move on Archie Middlefeld. This is incredible stuff. He's going to inherit P4 if he gets this move done on the second straight now, coming for the turn 9, turn 10, the hairpin. It's looking good, but Archie Middlefeld has some great traction off of that corner actually, and he's miles up the road.
I think Archie just parked his car in the middle of the road, didn't allow Jay the perfect line through turn 8 there. So Jay losing out significantly to Archie and the Renault team, but I think with the soft tyres, Archie's old medium tyres, Jay will definitely be able to go to the end. It's only 4 laps for him on these soft tyres, so Jay just needs to find that pace in the last 4 laps.
Yeah, certainly. He's just got to recollect, recalibrate. He's got to go for that move again. As you say, 4 laps left in the race. Plenty of time for him to get it done. He's on those soft tyres, a huge tyre advantage, and he's fighting for P4. I mean, what a great result.
Sorry to interrupt you. He's coming to the pits. I've got no... This is from Sky Race Control, a late penalty. Archie Middlefeld has picked up a drive-through penalty here for the virtual safety car. He's going to go right through the pits. We see him going past his Renault garage there. Archie Middlefeld is well and truly done himself on the virtual safety car there. Jay inherits P4. Archie Middlefeld down to P8.
Yeah, that's absolute heartbreak for the Renault driver. Completely, I don't know how he infringed that.
I think it was for the virtual safety car.
The virtual safety car.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Under the safety car, that's not good news for him. That's heartbreak. The final race. It's been. We've seen some great racing today, but yeah, P9.
That's unfortunate for him. And one thing that you think would benefit the drivers up at the top has actually killed his race, unfortunately for Archie. But surely 4 laps to go. He's still got enough time to make his way up to P7.
Essentially, he's obviously on those medium tyres still, but yeah, just heartbreak really. I obviously didn't see the incident that caused him to get that drive through, but he was it was going to be a good battle between him and Jay Robinson.
Remember, vote for your driver, kenkotv.uk/vote. As we see Matthew Widdowson on the brand new soft tyres unlapping himself. We saw that incident back in 2018. We mentioned it last week between Max Verstappen and Esteban Ocon when Esteban Ocon tried to unlap himself. 4 pit stops for Matthew Widdowson, but as he tried to unlap himself, clipped the leader, but no contact there between Robinson and Widdowson.
Yeah, it's not been a very good race for Widdowson today. It's not been his true form, I don't believe. We've seen some good results from him, obviously starting the league later than most of the drivers. But yeah, this is not representative of his true pace, I don't believe.
We could start to see some tyre degradation now, as some of the soft runners, it looks like everybody's gone, pretty much except for Mustard, Middlefeld, and the 2 top runners. Max Chapman actually gone back onto the medium tyres. I don't know when that happened, I didn't see that.
It happened a little while ago. There was a battle between him and Joe, obviously. Joe came out, but Max got him done very, very quickly. Max has been in the lead for the majority of this race. He's now 12 seconds ahead of Joe. He's gained about 5 seconds in the last few laps.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough to him. Fair enough to the driver, Ian Halmore, actually, staying up in P7 and looking for P6 as he's on the tail of Andre Abreu.
Yeah, you know, this is it now. There's absolutely nothing to lose, fighting for the final points of the whole season. Ian Halmore is going to throw absolutely everything into this battle.
I tell you what, Ian works well under pressure here, and all of these drivers got all the pressure of the final race of the season, possibly boosting themselves an extra position. Ian Halmore's maintained this position from the grid start. Max Chapman and Joel Potts are the only other 2 drivers other than Torben Schutt to do that.
Yeah, certainly. It's been a very, very solid race for Ian Halmore today. He will definitely want this P6, so that will mean that he's advanced on his qualifying position, which is obviously what you're aiming for in the race. But P7, nonetheless, a very, very solid race so far for him.
Dirt Chocolate really impressing here in his first ever Kenko F1 race, possibly in the podium positions. And with 14 places gained, wow, that's all I have to say. Wow, oh wow.
Yeah, certainly. We cannot underestimate the might of Dirk Chocolate. It's been a great first showing. 14 positions gain, up into P3, a podium on the cards. Don't want to jinx anything, of course. We have been known for doing that. But yeah, it's been a very good first race.
Jay Robinson, sorry, not Jay Robinson. Every time I hit a penalty now, I say Jay Robinson. Josh Ramara has picked up a time penalty there, 3 seconds. That doesn't look like it will affect his race, with Torben Schutt being more than plenty of that time behind. Only 6 seconds behind, so 3 seconds in the end. That's enough for the gap.
Yeah, I think there was so much more today for Josh, though, outside of the points. That is not what he came in today aiming for. He was obviously very, very close at the front at the start of the race. Nados and Andre Abreu fighting very, very close now, going in towards turn 8. Abreu, in fact, has that DRS, so it's going to be incredibly hard for Nados to overtake.
I tell you what, but it might be late on the brakes with those hard tyres, and the old soft tyres of Andre Abreu look like they may be going off as we look here through turn 9. Look at that beautiful camera angle, but I don't know if he's pitted recently, because the pace on the straights is ridiculous for that soft tyre runner.
Yeah, certainly. Nados will be wanting this P5 position, of course. The penultimate lap of the whole season. This is it now. There's nothing to lose for the Red Bull driver and everything to prove. He could get P5.
Well, I tell you what, this has been one of the most enjoyable Kenko F1 races. I know it's the last here this season, but definitely and certainly one of the most enjoyable that I've been here to witness.
Yeah, certainly not necessarily characteristic of Abu Dhabi, but it has not disappointed this time round. And yeah, from the outset, it's been action upon action upon action. We've had 4 retirees so far. And yeah, it's been a great race to round off what has been a great season.
But I'll tell you what, Andre Mustard needs to look out, because behind him, Ian Hanmore's coming for him. And it is turn 1 that Ian Hanmore is only 1 second behind.
Yeah, this could be it now. This is one of those penultimate lap battles that we could see very much Torben Schutt, Max Chapman-esque from Ian Hanmore. He's on those soft tyres, Nados on those hard tyres. So it's all in his pocket now for Ian. And as they approach the turn 7 hairpin, he's within the DRS range just about. So crucially, going towards turn 8, will have DRS and the slipstream all the way down.
We're on board with Ian Hanmore now with that special helmet, trying to break the toe. Here is Andre Mustard. He's using none of the ERX. You see the red light flashing. That means he's not using any of it. But neither is Ian. He has none. He has 8% left, 6% left, 4% left, and cannot make it by the end of the straight. But here, if he gets a great exit, which he doesn't look like he's got such a great one compared to Andre Mustard on the final lap, Could he make it as Max Chapman starts the final lap of the race?
Yeah, potentially nursing some degradation there from Ian Hamill. Not as aggressive on throttle output, but he's getting close into the braking sofa for Andre Mister. We must keep watching this battle. It could come down to the last lap.
Yeah, we need to keep watching this, but we also should certainly keep watching up at the top. Andre Abreu making some pace and could be looking to overtake Jay Robinson on this final lap. Ian Hanway is right on the rear of that Red Bull. It rolls off the tongue because it's true. Ian has 1 lap to do it. He has to conserve everything. And through turn 6, 7, and now down to turn 8, he needs to get in front.
Yeah, certainly he's going to be harvesting that ERS as much as he can. He's going to be deploying it on the straights, and he's getting very, very close now on the final corner. Nados is harvesting going to turn 1. This could be an advantage for Ian, but not close enough. Ian knows that he's going to get that DRS if he stays behind him after the turn 7 hairpin.
Does Ian want to be ahead through turn 7 and give Andre all that toe towards turn 8?
He does not. He wants to be behind. He wants to be within that DRS. He's well within it. He's going to pass over the DRS detection point now, and he does. He's going to get that DRS. This is good news for him.
There's a yellow flag in sector 2. Who's that? In the wall, it's Matthew Widdowson. It's in the wall, I do think, there in the final sector. I'm not really sure if you saw that, but it looks like it may be a pass here from Ian Hamwell. But Ian Hamwell is saving and harvesting down the inside. He goes round the outside into this corner, down the inside of the track. A little bit of a switch back there from Ian. Archie Middlefield wants to get involved, and he's been tapped. His rear has been tapped through turn 9. No, Ian, it was so close to P5. And Max Chapman comes across the line to win the race. We do see and hear those fireworks going for Max Chapman, but tears for Ian Hanmore. Joel Foxall comes across the line to claim the P2 position, and in his first Kenko F1 race, it's Dirk Chocolate on the podium.
Yeah, that's heartbreak for Ian. He's very close, though, to the back of Rafael, so he still has the potential to make a move. But yeah, that was not good. He got tapped on the rear by the looks of it. Absolute heartbreak for Ian. It was coming so good for him.
It was one of his best finishes if he was to finish, but still Archie Middlefeld wants a piece of Andre Muster. He was just a witness to that crime that happened to Ian Hanmore. It's 1 corner to go. He tries to go round the outside. Who gets the better traction through? However, we're joined by our P3, P2, and P1 in the championship. Max Chapman, Joel Foxall, Torben Charlie, welcome and well done to you all. P1 for you, Max. You see all of your race wins, podiums up there. It was 12 for you in the end, Max, and 5 for you, Charlie, and unfortunately for you, Joel. yeah, I won't bring that up.
I think best not. We were close, very close sometimes. I think what matters is that the podiums and all the great point scores that we got to bring us the points to the team, which effectively is what made our team do so well. Obviously, at the start of League Alfa Romeo, 2 very strong drivers to take them along nicely, and same for Ferrari and Racing Point. You know, we had some great points from my teammate, and I like to think I did the same. The only race I never scored a point in was Spain, and yeah, that's something I'll cling on to for a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, well done to you all, especially to Max and Charlie. I mean, Joel, you fought your little heart out. You were very, well, as clearly the best of the rest up there in E3 for all of those. But yeah, I mean, Max and Charlie, you two fought right down to the second to last race.
Yeah, I'm very very happy with like how everything was going, and I think like the racing that me and Max had over the course of the season was very interesting. It was going up and down quite a lot. I remember like something I will never forget was my overtake in Spa, which I will probably always remember. And then like there were other races where Maxi was like absolutely dominating me, and yeah, really cool that the season like came down to almost the last race, you know.
Yeah, I mean, second to last race is near enough perfect for you guys, and just shows how competitive you all are. But I think you've all got something to go and attend. Any last word from any of you?
Bring on the fun.
Bring on the fun.
Yeah, nothing really, but it was a good season from everyone. I enjoyed racing against all of this bunch of lads. It's been great fun. Good battles with me and Charlie, especially that one at Belgium, which annoyed me quite a bit. But other than that, it's been an absolutely amazing season. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I think that's the same with everybody. And here commences the fun. I'll let you go, guys, go and enjoy it.
Thanks, and once again, I'll back up Max. Thanks for the whole league and setting it all up, and all the drivers, one race or all of them. It's been a lot of fun, something to remember.
Completely agree. Here it comes, folks, the moment you've all waited for. Bring on the donuts. Wow, it's interesting to see what these F1 cars can do, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we've seen them in absolute pace, but also how spectacular they look, all doing donuts down the main straight. But yeah,
Look at that, synchronized donuts from the Alfa Romeos.
Yeah, that's a really good effort. Kasper Veach back in the session by the looks of it. Good to see him back on the grid. But yeah, interesting season, amazing season, and what a nice way to end it.
This is amazing. It looks ridiculous. Someone's got the wet tires on over there. I think that may be Rio Evans put the wet tires on.
Yeah, obviously try to get those extra slippery donuts, but yeah, really nice by the drivers.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect send-off. We'll go back to the championship screen, and well done to all three of those drivers. Max, who won the Constructors' Championship, Charlie, who brought it down to the second to last race, and Joel, who was a very, very worthy advocate. I think, if anything, we just want to say thank you. And have you got a few words, Sam, possibly for everybody who's stayed by and watched every single time we've been on the air?
Yeah, certainly. It's been an absolute pleasure to commentate over these races, knowing that people are watching as well alongside us. Thank you all for watching. It's been a new experience for us all, and I really do think it's been great. It's as Joel said, something to remember and something to be really proud of. Every single person involved, all the drivers, everybody that organised it. Obviously, Ian as well, putting a lot of time in. Callum, yourself, putting an incredible amount of time in. And yeah, it's been a great thing to be part of. And I really encourage everyone to, get involved with these sorts of things, these community, these grassroots projects are what is really great. And there's so many of them on the internet, whether it be F1 related or whatever else. But yeah, it's been a great experience, and I've enjoyed my time so much.
So very well put, Sam. And I think I couldn't put it better myself. I mean, well done to everybody in the league. Well done to all of you watching, and thank you all so much. We'll go ahead and give a raid over to one of our closest, well, not one of our closest. We've given them a couple raids in the past NXR_XB1, a fellow league. I'd like to think sort of like a sister league to us. But yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. One thing I'd just like to say is thank you all for staying as long as you have, and obviously
This guy once stood on my boot.
Oh, I don't know what's going on here. With the grassroots, as Sam said, just contributing so much to everything that has gone on. I'd just like to say a big thank you very much. So that's it, folks. The end of Kenko F1, at least for this year. Get ready to host. Thank you. Well done to Max, Charlie, Joel. Well done to all the drivers. And I guess we'll see you sometime later this year. I'm not too sure what time, but we'll see you then. See you later, guys.